Hi, my name is Asa. I'm a indie game developer, solo game dev, and I'm currently working on this project, which currently doesn't have a name. It's just called Project HEAVENSENT. And it's been, let's see, I started on April 15th, so it's been a bit over a month. So I'm just going to show you my progress from April 15th up until May 15th. So I just updated this Discord server. I just called it log, and I just like literally dumped stuff on here, and I wanted to go through a little bit of the process. And this isn't a great example for your project because I really didn't make a game dev design document, which you absolutely should. And I didn't really start planning more until later on. This project was initially, you can see this inventory system here. This is initially was just for practice. I was using scriptable objects for the first time and setting the scriptable objects in some sort of array. There's 64 squares because it's 8 by 8, and then each square I like set each item. So I would say like in this array, element 2 is the iron med home here, but element 3 is also the iron med home. But then you have to go 7, 8, 9, 10. Element 10 is also iron med home, so I would do all that, and then I would be able to move them around in that inventory and stuff. So I was basically working on this inventory for like 2 weeks or something, and that's why I didn't really post that much, because I wasn't really focusing as much on it. But after those first week and a half or something, I really started devoting like 8+ hours a day onto the project. But before that, I was only doing like 0 to 4 hours. But like I never took more than like a 2-day break. I was definitely working on it. But anyway, I just started off with these sprites here. I'm not a good artist, but I figured if you can't make it good, then make it bad. That has to be some sort of charm or something to it. So you can see I stole some stuff from like old school RuneScape. There's the med helms, there's full helms, plate bodies, chainmails, plate legs, plate skirts, and then just regular boots. I couldn't think of another thing for boots. And then initially, I just had normal swords and normal daggers. So and this is just supposed to be bronze, and this is supposed to be iron here. And this is still the only two tiers, at least in the game. There are a little bit more weapons, but these are only tiers in the game currently. But I've still made a good bit of progress, I think, at least. So you can see here, this is my inventory system I was working on. And you can see I'm moving items around and they can't be placed in the same spot. And you can see over here, it's a little blurry, but you can see the array updating as I'm moving them around in real time. And I was pretty proud of that. This was also a chest prototype I was working on. And then over here, I was experimenting with the UI. I was like, well, I finished the inventory, because you see, it started April 15th and this is the 28th. So do the math right there. That was like a little bit of time. And then I was like, oh, let me make this into an actual game. I'm like doing some UI. I'm like, oh, this would be the health bars, this would be your equips, this would be where the game screen is. Again, taking a lot of inspiration from old school RuneScape. And I was initially gonna make this a text-based RPG. And what's this? Actually, I haven't seen this. Oh, this is, I changed some UI. I think this looks a lot smoother. Just having like the border around and then the red pixels. Because the thing is with the overlay, it's like, I just don't like the fact these aren't pixels. This is like opacity. But like this looks like a bit more retro, you know? And then you can see here, I implemented swapping items. So you can see I take this chest place body, and there's like a ghost item until I hover over, and then it actually swaps the items. And I thought that was pretty sick. And you can see if you like skip over, it doesn't actually swap it. It like shows you before you're gonna do it. And here I implemented the getting items from a chest. You see they went into my inventory there. And now I changed the design. You can see the design over here. I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna make it like this. This is a little bit more condensed. I can just put your inventory here, equips here. And this is how initially I was gonna do it. 3 or 4 ways really. So you could hit like A to go left, W to go straight, right to go, D to go right, and S to go back. Which there's one issue, is you can't see behind you. So that's a little annoying if you want to backtrack. Also, how do you like turn around or like look around? Like that's a little disorientating, even if you were to have like a mini map, which is what I was thinking. And then there's the first enemy, the slime here. So after experimenting with this, I was like, this is just a dungeon view. And when you get into the dungeon, when you actually encounter the enemy, you get into the battle view, kind of like Pokemon. And this was the original. This actually wasn't even the original battle screen. This is like it was like the third one. And the first few were pretty bad, but again, I'm copying Pokemon here. with the little background and the platform here. And I had named it Colossal Titan. Actually, this is just a mock. Yeah, this is a mock-up, so this wasn't even in the game. I just made this. The slime is called Colossal Titan for some reason, and you can just see how condensed and packed the UI is. And initially, how the game was going to work is this bar would fill up, ding, 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 and then I can't even remember what I was thinking, but basically this key, since the W is dark blue, you would press W, and since the D is light blue, the D is going to come next, so you hit W and then D, and then it would keep lighting up. You just keep pressing them, pressing them, pressing them. Oh, actually, this is what it would do. So this bar would go down over time, and I would have to press this to like keep it, make it go up again, I'm pretty sure. So you just have to do this as fast as you can. And that's cool. But I don't think I knew how to implement the dodge yet. Oh, and this is also here, those are the weaknesses. So I'd be like, oh, the slime is weak to melee, but what the slime is also weak to something else, but you don't know what it is because you haven't used the item that is weak to. So this is going to be like speed. So if you were to use a dagger instead of a sword, it'd be like a dagger is faster, so it'd do more damage. And then, so this is the dungeon view again. I switched the UI. You can see these buttons. You can see the inventory here. You can see the equips here. And I was like, this is not good enough. Again, I switched the UI for the battle again. And then I started working on the procedural dungeon generation, which I took heavy inspiration from Realm of the Mad God with Lost Halls. You can see, you can even see where the start was, where the starting room was, but basically this is the boss room and you'd have to navigate your way to here. But you can see that there's no splits. Like it's just, if you were to start here, it's just a direct route. There's like there's no maze. And there was a lot of bugs. I'm talking about the bugs here. We'll spare you all that, blah, blah, blah. And this looks like it works. You can see that this is a dead end here. This is the spawn room. This is the dead end. There's a couple dead ends, but this is still wrong. This one looks right, but it's still wrong. I say it's perfect, but I didn't realize it was still wrong at the time. And here is how it would look if I were to do this UI, but again, I changed it to this, and then again, I changed it to this. I thought the game was going to look like this, but again, I changed it. Yeah, so definitely go through those. Like, you don't got to be scared to make changes. Even if you have to redo your code like 6 times, don't worry about it. Back up your project when you're going to do something big like this. And then this is how I was actually, when I was actually getting somewhere. So this is literally just the dungeon navigation. So you can see I'm hitting regenerate to keep regenerating maps. And now I'm moving around and I just hit a dead end there. Yeah, so this is how it would actually work. You'd move around in the dungeon and you are the room kind of. You're not looking at a view that is the rooms. You are looking at just the minimap. So the minimap is the game. Here is where I added some complexity to the floors. So like this is floor 1 and you would have the enemy rarities, the chance that they would spawn in each room for like the chance of each random encounter. Like in Pokemon, basically, if you think about Pokemon, like the grass, like the chance of each square getting an enemy. The boss navigation max 11. So for floor 1, that means that there'd be, with perfect navigation to the box room, it'd only take you 11 rooms. I think I changed that now, but, and then boss navigation minimum is the minimum amount of rooms it would take you, but it kind of works, but there's a small chance it can still be lower. Basically what happens is if it generates a boss room, and it was only 4 squares, it'll regenerate up to like 4 times. But if it doesn't do that, it will just keep whatever it generated. It will just give up basically, just in case someone gets extremely unlucky and it regenerates like 15 times and then it's kind of laggy. But I don't even know how many times it'd have to regenerate, but I just set it to like 4 because if you get a 2 room after like 4 retries, you deserve it. Oh, I can also set the split length, so like how long the dead end is and how many dead ends there are. And then I also added some colors. Oh, and then I changed the movement. You can see I'm actually moving around with WASD, like free movement top-down character. And I made it so that when you touch the enemy, first of all, the enemies chased you here. And you can see I made a little camera zoom. Now this is more like what the current game looks like. This is the UI. So this is the battle screen. I think it looks way better. It's not as condensed. It actually looks like a desktop game and not like a mobile game. And you can see this white bar passing around. Doom, doom, doom. And you can see the red there. The red bars come randomly. So basically you need to press the dark blue key when the white thingy is in the light gray. And then this indicates the next key you have to press. And then when a red bar comes, you see I press space to dodge. And then he does a little animation. My health bar turns blue. And I skip taking damage. Oh, I think this is when I added more transitions. So yeah. So at this point, now I have the zoom as well as the crossfade, which is kind of like Pokemon again. I just robbed that. And here we go. Look, I'm gonna change the dungeon UI for the 8th time. Who would have guessed? And now I'm adding animations. So here I'm experimenting. Basically, I would think that the slime would come up and he would jump on the floor. Yep. And here I'm talking about, I start summer school on the 20th, which tomorrow, and it's like pretty intense. It's like 4 days a week. It's like a lot of hours, but I'm happy with how the project got, and I think I still have a good timeline and good planning. Here, what is this? I think this should be the almost full transition. Yeah, there's a little bit of delay there, but the slime comes down and everything comes into place. And then the battle starts immediately at this point. And here, I'm like, wait, I popped off, and this is the slime death animation because I'm not a pixel artist. I mean, you knew that from the start looking at the items. But I thought that was a pretty cool animation. And on the 13th, this is all I did today. I was saying that I really wanted to make the game loop because, like, if you died, nothing happened. If you won, nothing happened. If you got to the boss room and you went down the stairs to go to the next floor, nothing happened. So I wanted to complete the game loop to just make it infinite, and that way I could keep just building upon what I had, and it feel like I'm adding more features instead of working on core aspects of the game itself. So on the 13th, I just added drop tables, I guess. 14th, I said bug day tomorrow, posting this Trello list of a bunch of bugs, and I finished the win loop. So that means on the 14th, if you were to play, if you were to always win against the enemies, which was easy, there was just a slime at this point, then you would play forever. That's great. Now all the critical bugs are fixed. That's probably a lie. Oh yeah, I said now it's time for the lose animation, which I will start today. So I actually finished the lose loop as well. So that means you can always infinitely play. So here I just lose on purpose. I'm gonna spam a bunch of stuff. And now this thing will come down, and boom, I died. Okay. And then I can rebirth, and then it'll spawn me again into floor 1. And you can see there, those animations for the slime are pretty bad, like especially if you're spamming, this is something I want to work on. I want to add animation blending. But I mean, this is not how it was supposed to be. Those are placeholders. They got broken. Okay, this is the 15th, so I'll just show you the 15th. So 15th, happy 1 month. And I made a better movement system in the dungeon. I added this screen which updates your items and effects and stuff. So this is when I started implementing the weapon effects. So I'd add, like, if you had a sword equipped, you'd have plus crit strength and minus accuracy. And that was when I added this crit button. So now if you do it in the middle, the border turns yellow and you implement your crit strength. So now if you have a sword, you'll do more crit strength, more crit damage if you hit that yellow bar, but also you have minus accuracy, which means that the light gray area will be 5%. No, I think it'll be 10% smaller. And you can see I also have a spell book and I have a bow, and those all have different mechanics, and that's also a bug. Just forget about that. I think I fixed that one. And yeah, that's basically it. So I also, on the 15th, I also added the crit area and another indicator. So I was tired of the indicators, because this is something I'm still struggling with, but basically when you're fighting someone stronger, this doesn't move that fast for a slime, but like you want to be looking here, right? You want to be looking here, but using peripheral vision to like hit the keys here. But then you want to know how much damage you did, or if you want to know if you hit or if you didn't hit. So if you did hit, then your health bar is going to turn blue, or it's going to turn red if you didn't hit. So you're using peripheral vision here, but you're looking here, but using peripheral vision here. And that's kind of like, okay, how many places do I need to be looking at once? So I added this border, so it'll turn yellow if you hit the crit, green if you hit the light gray, red if you hit a different key, or if you hit outside the light gray, and blue if you dodge, or red if you miss the dodge. So there you go, I just added everything, and now it's a little bit closer to peripheral vision. Plus, I changed the animations nowadays as in like 3 days after I did this, and the enemy animations are much better, and they work for any enemy that I have. So all I have to do is change them out, and it works. And yep, that's everything for the 15th. That is the first month. I might do a faster update since I've been working on it more, and there's more things to show with less amount of time. So maybe I can do another update in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll just wait another month because I do have summer school and I'm gonna have less time, but we will see how it goes. I'm gonna put the Discord link in the description, and this is where you can find the log that I'll continuously be updating if you want to see more. And if you want to playtest, the itch.io page is right here. I'll put it in the link description as well. Or just join and let me know what you think. I hope this gives you at least a little bit of an idea of how much work I'm doing every day. I mean, I'm working like, I think I'm a pretty slow programmer. I mean, this is like my second game. I just made like a little arcade game before, but that was the only other project I did by myself. And you can see how much progress I'm doing each day. And you can see on the 17th, this was the first day that I actually had a timeline. So I want to have a demo release on a Steam page by July 1st. And this was the first time I actually planned out what I was going to do and when. But yeah, this is where you can see how much I'm doing. And you can also see how much I'm changing. I've changed the project so many times, and that's part of the reason why you have to make a game development document and have your thing planned out, make mockups, because you will save so much more time than this, especially even it's not bad if you're a slow programmer like me, right? But if you're planning, you will cut out so much of this time. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I'm okay that I did it because I learned from my mistakes, but you can learn from my mistakes. You know, to learn from your mistakes. So I would definitely take that to heart, and good luck on your projects.